Hello, traders. It's Monday morning here in Chicago, 8:03 a.m., coming at you from downtown Chicago, the financial district. For the first time in 3.5 months, really, really excited to be here, back in the office. I was about to lose my mind working from home any longer, and it's nice to be here with the Edge Clear team nearby. It is Monday, the 22nd of June, 2020. Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. This morning, the market is selling off a little bit. It seems like we are bouncing higher. Actually, we did drop overnight a fair amount. And no, the cat is not here. It stays at home, and thank God for that. But the Nasdaq's a leader in the indices, up 79 points or 0.8% from Friday's close. Now, remember, Friday's close was very weak. We closed on Friday near the session lows, and we are popping higher, but in range this morning. Gold is the leader in my quote board. Gold is up $16.20, trading at $1,769.20 or 0.9%. The Euro Stocks 50 are weakest. The DAX is also weakest. Let me see. Are those stale quotes? No, they're good quotes. Yeah, so they are off. Very odd there. Um, what's interesting though is that the Bund is higher, the bonds are higher, and the 10 years are higher. Crude is coming off. It's at the August crude's trading at 39.79, off 4 cents, and that's where we stand this morning. So a slight risk on, but I got to tell you, the configuration of this risk on look is not very convincing in my opinion. We'll go over that in a bit. And I will say hi to Ian for you at Edge Clear. I'll do that. He's just down the hallway from me. Anyway, so that's where we stand looking at things. Again, let me reiterate that Friday's close was very weak. The market's bouncing higher, and we've moved away from the 3100, which I'll cover in a minute. But overall, the market's taking a small bounce, but I'm not seeing this as, hey, the market, overall participants are happy with what they see, and therefore the market is moving higher kind of in a more organized, permanent way, or not permanent, but in a meaningful way. Overnight, looking at the numbers that came out, not seeing anything significant. Well, consumer confidence comes in this morning in about an hour, a half hour after you open at 10 Eastern. The expectation of negative 16. Existing home sales in the U.S. come in also at 10 Eastern, expecting negative 2% month on month, and home sales, existing home sales for May are expected to come in at 4.2 million, prior's 4.3. We get ECB's Guindos at 10:15 and Bank of Canada's Macklem at 11, and then Fed's Kashkari at 6:30 p.m. this evening, and that pretty much rounds it out. Today we have the EU-China summit in play as well. So that's all we've got. Um, that's all we've got for today. The overall, the way we left things last week is that COVID was making a resurgence in Texas, Nevada, Florida, and Arizona, as well as Oklahoma. The numbers show that there was a big push, and one of the headlines was 11% day to day, day on day in Texas, and of course Las Vegas. If you remember, um, you reopened for business, and Nevada's numbers are coming up. It's not surprising. The response was very quick, but that's what the market is nervous about. That this recovery may be kind of a dead cat bounce or something. So that's just me speculating. I'm not really sure. It doesn't matter. The fact is, We put in a higher high on Friday, and we proceeded to cross the entire balance range in this area, which I'll cover in a minute, and finished very, very weak. So let's start the gig here with the review of what was expected on Friday. Now, given how we were trading coming into Friday, now recall we were trading, we had 2 days of equal balance. The market really liked the value area in this range. And then we came in on Thursday and it had a lower value range. And then we bounced up. We skipped way, way up. And at the time of the trader bite on Friday, the market was pushing highs. The market was pushing highs at 31.38 and a half at the time. And so the expectation is it's likely to pull back towards the 30 and bounce up and head into 60. That was the kind of really, I got to tell you, based on my experience, this is not, this is not empirical evidence, but based on my experience, it's tough. It's tough to break lower on this kind of scenario. The secondary scenario, however, was looking for it to come back into balance, to basically fail higher, come back into balance, and the balance price is around 3102. 3102 is a big area, composite high volume node, micro composite point of control. It is a century figure. It's got a lot going for it. It's got a lot going for it. Here's what actually happened. I'll show it here on the two-tick Renko. There's quite a bit of activity. We had an open auction out of range. We tested both sides, so we were able to get an opening swing high and an opening swing low, and then we broke below the opening swing low. Actually, right in here for a mid test, we had an impulse down. We had our first impulse right down here. You could see it. It's a negative 12 and a half points. It's a full-on impulse. And then, so the idea is to look for a pullback to mid OS or VWAP. And it did that very nicely, and it extended the IB lower. And then we had a secondary impulse down, takes us to the naked point of control of 31.15, bounces up, cannot get back in the IB. And then from there, the news comes out, and it just kind of blows through, and it pushes back into the prior day's close and point of control right on top of each other at 30.98 and 30.98.75. We would expect it to chop around in here, test value low, and potentially bounce back up. No chance. The market basically falls right through, breaks through the low of Thursday. So we came in from on top. We broke into Thursday's range and we pushed all the way through to the other side. And then we finally looked like we're about to recover. That's, coming in at the lunchtime here in Chicago, about 1 o'clock in New York. And then from there, it's just not able, coming into the weekend, it's just not able to hang on to higher prices. Another attempt higher, fails again, and it finishes near lows. So the Friday behaved like a trend day, but what was interesting about Friday is even though it finished at the low, it finished way down here on the week, it didn't have one of these multi-transition kind of points of control where high volume nodes where the market drops, rotates, drops, rotates, drops, rotates. So it's not a straight up trend. It ended up leaving us with a double distribution profile with a clear cutoff area up here at the 3105 through to 3110. So this area right here, we need to keep an eye on the way up. And that's what we were left with on Friday. Last night we traded up to 3096.75. We're currently trading at 3082 with the point of control at 3084, and the overnight low is way down here at 3027. It's looking kind of weak to me with with nothing scheduled or no potential currently that I'm aware of better news. So To me, this is looking kind of weak. This looks like a little bit of a bounce. Now, what determines whether or not this is a bounce, a bounce to sell or a bounce to break through? Again, it'll be right here. You see this? The 3105 to 3110 area is going to be crucial to our understanding of what buyers are willing to pay up to push higher. So keep that as a key area to reference in your travels today along your journey in the market. So that's where that stands. Carrying that into the overnight session. Here's the overnight session. The overnight session opens lower and it's quite bullish from the low. So we ended up taking out the low by gapping lower, but what we see from the overnight session is it's a P-shaped profile, so it's a pretty clear short covering rally, and it's not able to pull back and test mid or VWAP, so it's quite strong. It's a relatively strong rally on the way up again as it pushes into 3100, 3104, 05. It's going to be important to see if there's a response there that brings it back towards yesterday's close, or if it runs away and gets on the other side of the distribution, which brings us back to the 3130 area above. Okay, quite a technical uh, drop, and we did make quite a bit of headway on Friday on the sell side. We just need to pay attention to that, in my opinion. Today it is strong. We've got a relatively strong delta. Remember, the expiration is behind us. Delta is in effect. The volume means something, and overall, as long as it stays above this 3060, it's likely to challenge a 3104, and it's likely to work itself back up to 3130 is my opinion. Okay, so let's look at the overnight and what it has done. But as you can imagine, the overnight session has been, book map, the looking at the order flow. The overflow in the overnight session is, as you would imagine, is pretty single-sided. There's not much here that's causing me to think, hey, there's a nice tipping point one way or another. We see some liquidity at the 3110, the upper end of the range. We don't see any at the 3105, which is kind of surprising to me. 3100 has liquidity, but we would expect 3100 to have liquidity. And we would expect the market to continue to work itself through this 3090, 3100 area. So overall, you could see also that the CVD, the cumulative volume delta, is very positive on the day, as indicated earlier. So to me, we need to kind of be careful with our shorts today, as the market is likely to squeeze higher. We see a nice block of bids that shifted from down below, but to me, I put no confidence in this kind of behavior. This is likely to cancel on the way down. When they show up like that, you see there's a little skew here. It's like click, 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 and size is being put on, and it's just resting there from what was there below. So it may trade out, but not likely. And I'm not seeing anything stable below that has lasted through the session. So let's look out a little bit on this. I have full depth here, MBO depth through Rhythmic. Just a fantastic combination between CT Bookmap, which by the way you can find at ctbookmap.pro up here, and Rhythmic. Hopefully you get it through EdgeClear. This combination here gives us a deep look into the book, and you can see how the book gets really kind of quiet below 30 and above 3120. There's not much kind of resting there, whereas last week, because of rollover, we had a lot kind of playing outside of the expected daily range in the book. So that's where we stand this morning on the order flow. let's take a look at what we're expecting for today. Let me set that chart up real quick here. Seems noisy because of the range that I'm choosing, but here we go. So we are below the very, very key high volume node in this area. We are below this 3100, 3102 area, very big area. We need to pay attention to how the market behaves this morning towards the 3104. The expectation this morning is it's likely to open up in chop. I'm looking for the market. Now remember, this was a bit of an impulse pullback continuation, and it had a chance to correct, and it impulsed again. So I'm looking for a lower low this morning. I'm looking for a lower low. So the expectation is an open auction that attempts to push higher, falters, and then starts working its way through. We're below the overnight point of control, working its way through the 3060, taking out the 3057.50 from last week, and then whoa, what is going on with the news feed here? And then I'm looking for a bounce. It is Monday. The volatility is not expected to be very high, and so I'm looking for that for the market to pull down. Now, here's the thing, though. The way it's configured this morning, though, the overnight session, it really could squeeze. It could squeeze hard because of everything, because of the posture the market's taking. So the secondary is an open auction that tests down first, impulses up through the overnight point of control and squeezes that overnight high into 3100 into the high volume node, and then challenges 3104, and then consolidates before it pushes through. Then that 3104.05 area is expected to provide support for a continuation to 3130 right up here. Those are the two main ideas. So my job this morning is to first identify where are we opening relative to the prior session. Second, what kind of behavior do we get on the open? Where do we get the strength? Do we get big rotations up? Do we get an impulse up or down? How does it treat 3104.05? How does it treat 3060 below? Does it fall right through? In which case, we are likely to just continue lower to the next high volume node, most likely right down around 3035 or so. Before the bounce into the afternoon, or do we push through 3104 after pulling back a little bit, and then I'm looking to lay into the long once it breaks through there. So that's where that stands. On Friday, just a quick kind of recap. So those are the ideas for the day. On Friday, this is what I have in terms of Delta. You could see that overall, the very large lots on Friday did not really participate all that much. They were not that active. We could see we approached negative 4,000. Very large lots are 100 lots or better. We could see that they're relatively flat. They sold down into negative 4,000. But it's the large lots on Friday that really pushed the markets, with the small lots kind of holding it up. Small lots being positive on the session. So the overall delta was negative, was pretty negative with price, uh, but small lots seem to be fading this move lower. So it doesn't tell us a lot, but it does say that it seems to be a large to small lot players. Those are the players that are kind of pushing things around. That the very large lots did not participate until the close. And of course, it's options expiration. It's quad witching Friday, so you'd expect some wiggling on the close. Anyway, I'll leave you with that. Good luck today, and I'll catch you tomorrow morning. Take care.